I hate summer.
Hello, how are you? Good morning if you're watching this in the morning. If you're not, just hi. Just hi would have been okay. Just hi. I read the book, just finished it, and I want to talk to someone about it. I wasn't planning on making a full video on the book. Yeah, but I feel incompetent and I want to do something to make me feel like I've done something to, give me some false semblance of achievement. So I'm filming this. No, but in all seriousness though, I just finished the book and I think it's a pretty cool read. And so this is my review. This is Of Shattered Dawn by Camille Dwight and Talia Graves. And it's the first in a series called the Corinthia Saga, or a Corinthia Saga. Okay, so this is a Fae-based book. Think ACOTAR, think Folk of the Air, that sort of shit. So we first get a layout of sort of the land and the, I don't want to say hierarchy, the hierarchy of people. Let's just go with that. We have the Archons or Archons. I have no idea how the fuck you say that word, and I'm not going to research it because I don't want to. They're basically the rulers of each place, each kingdom or whatever, and they are blessed with magic. In some place they are like icicle magic, and some place they are dragon blooded and they have horns and wings and whatnot. So we have Tidal on the east, which are over the ocean, and then the south, who are the Diamanti or keepers of the sunrise. Then we have Winecorn, land of never-ending winter, which is where I need to be right now because I hate summer. And we have Diafeld on the west, which is a place for knowledge. It basically just has a lot of books. And then we have the north, where there were ancient dragon ancestors and shit, and they led to dragon-blooded people, or fays, and the myth of the dragons that became the mountains, or something like that. So the shtick is the ancient dragon ancestors became the mountains surrounding this world after curling themselves around the world and meeting their end. Sort of like a Jormungandr Midgard, inspired by the Jormungandr Midgard, which I personally love and kind of obsessed with. So literally the summary of the book is don't fall in love with him. Sabil learns early to never rely on others. As a Fae Archon's daughter, she is supposed to one day rule her court, not to be sent to exile at the first set of unrest. And we start the book with her having a conversation, or more of an argument, with her father when he wants to send her into a different court or a different kingdom to be safe because there is a threat coming, and the only advice he gives her is do not fall in love with him. So we go from the Palace of the South, which is in the south, and she is the MC. She is a sunrise bitch, to the east, the Delta Estate, I think the east, the west, the Delta Estate, the north, the Delta Estate, where there are dragon-blooded people with horns. You know where this is going. Where we meet Vestran, the Archon of the estate and the north, and his general Bergaera, and immediately it's a huge ACOTAR vibe. I mean, a huge ACOTAR vibe. From the characters to the world building to everyone's roles in this world, a huge ACOTAR vibe. So the first 3 chapters, we're just getting to know the world a little bit and the characters a little bit, although I wish we'd gotten to know the world more. I feel like this is not a first book or a setup like this in order for us to get a prequel, which I do think it needs desperately. Although the more we meet new characters, the more I love the banter between everyone. I love the banter between everyone. So we meet the Archon, Vestran, and Bergaera, his general, and then we meet Pharos and everyone living in the estate, and it's immediately given, Azrael and Cassian and, I was gonna say Margaret, Imogen or or whatever her name was. It's immediately given me that gang's vibe, and I love ACOTAR with all of my heart. Like, I love that series so much. It's living beautifully on my shelves forever and ever and ever, and can't wait to read it again, actually. So this filled me with a lot of joy. It's taken its time to present the war. This started as a good point, and then as a bad point, so let's just go with that. Chronologically, I don't know if that's the right word to use here, but I'm gonna use it anyways, and you are just going to go with it. It started good, actually. How it presented the war. There was a threat, it was presented, and we kept getting hints, and we kept getting fed idle threats, and then more serious threats, and then more idle threats, and it was fun, it was exciting, enticing, it was good. And I liked how it was presented because there was a balance between the romance from the world building, from the war being presented to us, that there's something that will go down. Plus, there's a huge political aspect, which, as you know, you might know, I like so much. So between all of that, it was good at first. It was done without one overbearing the other. And I like how it's all in a third POV, but it feels like a first POV. Personally, I love a first person point of view, but I know the majority likes the third POV, so this was a good find for me, because like I said, it was a third, but it felt like a first because of the smoothness of how it intertwined between the characters and their individual POVs while still remaining a third POV. So I liked how it done that. It was smooth and balanced, and it didn't get me confused. I'm very, very easy to confuse. I'm a very easy person to confuse. I'm very naive and I get lost a lot and my brain wanders every 2 seconds. So it was done in a way that did not confuse me, even though we have a lot of characters going ins and outs and the POV changes every few minutes, but it still didn't get me confused, which is saying a lot. So at first, I also like this point that we didn't just focus on one set of characters. We didn't just present the side characters, the MC and the protagonist, the antagonist, whatever, and these are it, and we are only focusing on them. I liked how we also focused on the side characters' personal lives, but after a while, it went so far into the side character's personal life that it did not give us much on the main character. Then we got to the middle, which it started descending for me. Like the points that it was looking at a 4.5 stars, and then this is where I started going to, oh, maybe this is a 4, maybe this is 3.5, I don't know, because of how slow it was. It kept on getting so personal in one of the side characters' romance, and I don't mind that. I like that, but it was just that. Plus, they went into this training montage kind of thing. That it was just that. It was just like this training, and not even an in-depth training, which I would have loved. Just the training, and then the side characters' romance, and it was so much. Like we got to know so much from the side characters' relationship that I thought 100% we're gonna get played. This bitch is gonna betray us. Like 100% something is off. It was just a weird feeling, but it ended up okay. And I don't know. It was weird because it's played out as Sabil and Vestran, whatever, being the main relationship or the main male character and main female character. But then it also gave us this. And I wouldn't have minded if it was set up as a multiple main characters POV, because we've seen a lot of that with the Six Crows duology, with the ACOTAR books, even if most of them were first person from Fae's POV, but still we got characters that I would consider the main characters, especially from the Six Crows duology. But with this one, it was set up in a weird limbo way. Not that I didn't enjoy what was happening throughout the middle. I'd say from maybe chapter 30 to chapter 50 even. All of that, it was so repetitive to me personally, and it was the downfall of the book, even though I still liked it by the end. But it was just the negatives of the book. It was all combined in the middle, which is the worst thing you can do to a book, because it's the part where people would DNF a book and I didn't. And not to a point where I would DNF, but I thought about it. It was there in the back of my mind somewhere. But it just felt like, and I don't know if this is gonna make sense, it felt like we got less from what we were reading. Like we would read 200 pages and then we get an equivalent of 50 pages of shit that was happening. And I don't like that. However, I did like how we got different styles of relationships. From fated mates, fake dating, to friends with benefits or enemies with benefits, stuff like that. And those each on their own, in my opinion, can be a bit monotonous, but they did it in a way that kept it diverting. And albeit all the relationships were still amusing, but I'd rather we got more from the main protagonist, from Sabil and Vestran. I'd rather we got more from her and half the shit we got from the side characters. Or at least more background. I feel like we spent so much time building one of the side characters' relationship with their partners. Like we spent so much time building the partner, building the personality, building the relationship, building their history, their background. And that would have been fine if it was done in half, or at least like the same to the main character. The spice level was about a 3.5 when it gets to the spicy scenes, especially again with the side character. It's intense, it's good, but it's not like spice on spice on spice, which I actually prefer. It gives you a lot of plot and a lot of character before it dives into that. There was so much tension of the threats and so much leading up to it that it just makes you want something big to happen, something major to happen. And by the end, it doesn't. And I think it was so dragged out, albeit for the tension, but still, it was so dragged out to the point where whatever happened at the end happened, and whatever twist we got happened, it just fell flat because of how dragged out it was, without giving us so much. I've read recently Priority of the Honest Tree, loved it so much. The entirety of the fucking 600 pages and something, nothing, like a lot of things happened, but not the final war. It was dragged out to the last 50 pages. And then when it happened, it was a lot. It was major, it was huge, it was big, it was epic. And it made all the waiting and all the scary moments of me being, oh my god, I hope this isn't just like for nothing, dissipate in that instant. And this was exactly the opposite, which I hate. Another thing that I didn't like a lot, we meet a lot of characters, or we got introduced or presented to a lot of characters all around the book with no context, with no background, with nothing. Like, we're talking about something and then we say, how about this ruler? And then we get nothing from them. He's just like, this is his name and this is the land he rules and that's it. And I don't really like that because it's not good world building. Because it just falls flat, I think. It makes you like dissociate a little bit from the book, from the story, because it focuses so much on the main characters, not even the main characters, the side characters in this one, that it just tells you so much about them but nothing about the world. So the world building, although good, not so well done. This was still very entertaining and I liked it a lot. And it was still a pretty cool fantasy book, but there was so much missing out of it. This is like, literally, it's gonna sound so mean, but it's exactly how I feel. This is like, we got ACOTAR at home. This is the ACOTAR at home. It was still good, it was still entertaining, but it's missing so much. So much. And after I finished it, all I can think about is the romance between the two side characters. Like, that's the one thing that was done real good. Like, it was so detailed. Other than that, everything else sort of like is fading from my brain. And I don't know how I feel, but it ended up being a 3.5 stars because, again, still entertaining, still good, not super well done, especially after I read so many good fucking fantasies lately, but still well done. I would recommend this to someone who isn't huge into reading fantasy or epic fantasies and gets overwhelmed by all of that. So this is a good beginning kind of book that focuses more on the romance than the epic world building or the epic battles. Thank you so much for the publishers for sending me this book for free to review. It still gave a really cool, cozy, fairy-like vibe that I loved. And that's one of the biggest things in the book that made me want to stay there, made me want to stay in the world. Even though there were negatives, but still it didn't deter me from the book or make me actually want to stop reading or whatever. It just, after reading a lot of shit, you just notice shit, technical shit. But other than technical stuff, liked it. And again, would recommend it to a beginner fantasy dude. Or not dude, whatever you are. Other than that, I love you and I'm gonna see you next video.